So for the younger people listening that are passionate and hungry for success, but they want it right now, how can they learn to overcome that impatience and focus on the actual long game?
By first recognizing that their parents screwed up and society screwed up, and they created a framework that creates an unbelievable sense of entitlement, and recognizing that anything special takes time and takes work. It's very hard. It's like the amount of people that take diet pills and sign up for quick fix health benefits grossly outweigh the people that eat right and exercise right every day. And that's what happens in business. Everybody thinks there's a course, a shortcut. You know, I'm gonna make all my money in Bitcoin and be out and be a billionaire next year. A shortcut mentality is inherently in people. I believe it's because they worry too much about other people's judgment. Patience is unbelievably not on the pedestal that it should be. It's one of the reasons I try to put it on a pedestal. Recognizing the problem is step one. 99% of the people that are consuming this content, audio or video right now, are grossly impatient.
It's something that on a much lower level than yourself that I get as well. I get a lot of emails from people saying, well, how can I do exactly what you've done, Neil? And I'll say, well, a daily tech podcast is 365 podcasts against your name here. 2 articles a week become, 700, 100.
And think about all the years where you had to study to know even what you're talking about, and like, right? I mean, just years and years, like I've been doing business since I was 6 years old, for real. Like not like, kind of real. Like kind of like I'm an athlete real, like 80% of my leisure time as a kid was shoveling snow. And by the way, you can hear shoveling snow. What you don't know is ringing a doorbell, trying to sell somebody on giving you $10 to shovel their snow, sensing when you can ask for $20 or $5, taking 5 when you wanted 10 because the last 6 houses didn't say yes, and it's getting later at night, and then actually doing it. Then actually having, while you're like literally, I've got a vision in my head right now of shoveling snow on people's decks while watching my core friends build snowmen and throw snowballs at each other just 100 yards away. That takes a sense of discipline and passion for work and business that most people don't grow up with. So here I sit at 43 years old, not old, but not necessarily a kid like so many people entering. I'm now 35 full years into 100% pot committed business thinking. I went to school thinking how to sell candy. I went to school thinking how to sell cards. I didn't go there trying to learn calculus. And so, that whole 10,000 hours Malcolm Gladwell thing, I don't know where I'm at now, but it's a lot.
To those people that has a comfortable life, doing a job that they despise though, living for the weekend, questioning how they lost their way, ended up settling, but convinced themselves that they're too old, too institutionalized now to do anything about it. What would you say to those people?
They're crazy. And they're just, it blows my mind that somebody who's 58 years old doesn't realize that they're gonna live for another 50 years, which means they're maybe at halftime. But here's the problem. Every 58-year-old that is in the system right now grew up that when they were a kid, their grandparents were dying at 58. So people use history instead of the future to make their decisions, and that's a huge mistake because you're not going into a time machine, but you are gonna be living going forward. And so the impracticality of deploying what happened in the past as the framework to you is a mistake, and I can't be more passionate than to try to get 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds to realize if one person's done it, then you can too. And so if that's the Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken, or Vera Wang, or Sidney Frank, who started Grey Goose at 72 or 78 years old, I just don't understand why people are giving up when they're unhappy when the internet now exists. This is where I think people get caught. If you're 60, you grew up the first 40 years of your life without the internet. And so you don't actually calibrate the power and the opportunity that is the internet to start your podcast around Star Trek or gardening or the side hustles that become careers that people don't believe, that obviously I believe in, the obviously that you've lived.
I've got to ask, I mean, what inspires you, both here and in the past, from those
Optimism. Yeah. Optimism inspires me. People who have very little, who have severe challenges, and persevere. Maybe this is where I'm so affected by my mother. My mother lost her mother when she was 5. She grew up in the depths of Soviet communist Russia. Her father went to jail for a decade. She's the most optimistic person I know. Yeah. When people come up to me and they're like, oh, I have it, so I'm like, I always just think about my mom. You know, she's so positive, so optimistic, and she had such shit as a child, you know?
Now, finally, Gary, I don't want to end on a downer, but you often talk about how people should...
Real quick.
Yeah.
I don't think what I just said about my mom's a downer, and I think it's an interesting insight. I actually think adversity is the great gift in our society. And I think that if you really look at who's upset for real, it's the people that grew up entitled and are then zoo animals when they go into society because they were so overcoddled, not the ones that have chips on their shoulders and had a lot of negativity.
Absolutely, completely with you on that. Now, finally, Gary, I don't want to end on a downer, but like I said, you do often talk about how people should speak to people at the end of their lives and how they share regrets.
Yes.
So if someone was to visit you in a nursing home 40 years from now, hopefully longer, and come to you searching for those same answers, what is the alternative narrative that you'd hope to give them and what you want to be remembered for?
Look, I want to be remembered as somebody who gave more than he took and somebody who redefined what an alpha male could look like and the things that he would talk about, you know? I want to put words like kindness and gratitude and empathy on a pedestal as strengths, not weaknesses. So I want to be admired. I want to be admired because I gave, not because I took. And that's what I would tell any kid when I'm 98, right? If you can figure out how to give and eliminate expectations of others, you will forever be happy because you won't be at the mercy of anybody. And you will be so fulfilled with the admiration of other human beings that you can live a really successful and happy life. I actually think whatever went wrong for you is the best shit that ever happened to you because adversity is absolutely the foundation of success. The other thing I know is I have bad news. Nobody gives a fuck about your problems. And this is super important to understand. The second you actually understand that nobody actually gives a shit, the only people that listen to you complaining are your loser fucking friends. If you like complaining, like just take a step back. Look around the next time you're complaining about the government or you know, racial or feminine I had a guy sit in front of me the other day crying that his life was bad because he was a white male. Rich white male. I was like, oh shit, we've gone everywhere now. You're either on the offense or defense. I just want you to know something. One of the things that's been really on my mind is I think a lot of people think they're in the middle. They're like in a transit. You're only on the offense or the defense. And I've realized that I've been on the offense my whole life because I never felt entitled to anything.